So Lara Acosta has literally cracked LinkedIn and has made over $1.5 million with her info products thanks to a genius content strategy as well as extremely smart positioning and branding, which I'm going to cover in this video. For those who don't know me, my name is Yannis and I help content creators and coaches build sustainable micro-education businesses. So this is literally right down my alley. So without further ado, let's dive straight into Lara Acosta's $1.5 million info product ecosystem. So right here we have Lara's main traffic sources. We have guest content. So these are podcast appearances. For instance, Lara has appeared on the Ahmed Khaled podcast, on his Unleashed podcast. Chris Donnelly as well as Darren Lee have also interviewed her, and she basically gets on these podcasts as a guest and talks about building a six-figure personal brand. She's talking about beating the LinkedIn algorithm. So she's talking about everything relating to her niche, which is personal branding and writing on LinkedIn. So this is how she acquires potentially new eyeballs. And on top of that, she also creates her own content, mainly on platforms like LinkedIn as well as YouTube. On LinkedIn, she's gathered over 200,000 followers over the past couple of years, and she uploads three kinds of content. We have personal content, so these are personal stories. We have educational content or growth content, so these are general tips on how to grow on LinkedIn, how to build your personal brand. And last but not least, she also creates empowering content. And this is actually one of my favorite posts right here: how to thrive as a female entrepreneur. Remove the female, you're an entrepreneur, you're a founder. So extremely motivational, inspirational, and empowering content. Now, around a year ago, she also started creating content on YouTube, and she's all about LinkedIn. Of course, YouTube is a long form platform, so it kind of goes hand in hand with LinkedIn because a lot of B2B people are also active on YouTube. So it makes so much sense to create that content on YouTube rather than trying to attract eyeballs on platforms like Instagram or TikTok. So this is her YouTube strategy right here. She basically creates a lot of content centered around using AI to create viral content, how to get clients on LinkedIn, systems to become a LinkedIn lead machine, these other kinds of content pieces that she creates on YouTube right here. And this is how Lara Acosta manages to capture attention. Now, how does she turn that attention into income, into that $1.5 million info product business? Well, of course, she puts links to her products, to her lead magnets, to her LinkedIn profile everywhere. And this, of course, also includes the guest podcast appearances. So here's the description of a podcast that she was on, another video description right here, another one. As you can see, every single podcast that she's part of, they make sure that they link her socials so people can check her profiles out. And on top of that, she's also plugging her LinkedIn as well as her playbooks, her lead magnets, and so on in her YouTube video description. So in her own YouTube content, as you can see, free resource for you, another one, a 7-day course, and then also another waitlist kind of early access to her own course. So every time she uploads a YouTube video, she makes sure to promote her lead magnets, her playbooks, as well as her LinkedIn. Which actually brings us to her LinkedIn profile, which is extremely optimized, as you can see right here. She's got a very clear banner. Her headline says exactly what she does. And then we have the call to action right here: visit my website, which links directly to her main offer, which is her Literally Academy cohort that she's running, her program that she's running. Then we also have her featured section. It's another kind of real estate where she can promote her offer. And in this case, she's promoting two different offers: her 7-day free course and her Literally Academy flagship program. Now, of course, the 7-day free course feeds into her Literally Academy and it's just part of her larger ecosystem. So with that being said, one thing that I'm extremely impressed by is her branding and positioning. This is the main reason why people trust her and why they stick around. First things first, she's got a very clean visual consistency across all platforms. She's using the color black as her background, and then she's got different shades of orange as kind of like a gradient. For instance, if we look at her YouTube, we can see the different shades of orange being used in the profile picture. Same goes with her Instagram profile as well as her LinkedIn. We got the black background and the orange gradient that I was talking about. Now, these are not the only places where she's implementing this visual branding. She's also implemented that in her newsletter, in her Literally Academy, in her flagship program, as well as the different lead magnets that she's promoting. So apart from that visual consistency, she's also managed to position herself and kind of become part of what I like to call the Gen Z takeover of LinkedIn. Let me explain what that means. Basically, LinkedIn is a platform that's known for being corporate, and there are a lot of boomers and CEOs and old people on LinkedIn. At least that's what most people think. But that's not necessarily the case, because over the past couple of years, more and more Gen Z people started to take over LinkedIn, including Lara Acosta. And like I said, she's kind of positioned herself as one of the main people of this Gen Z movement. And let me give you a very specific example. Right here, we have a piece of content that she uploaded on her LinkedIn. In this case, she starts talking about the slave framework. So as you can see, the language that she's using is very Gen Z. Same goes with this post right here. This is what a busy day in the life looks like for me as a Gen Z entrepreneur living in London. And this was actually a short form video where she's kind of talking about the day in the life, which is very atypical for LinkedIn. Not a lot of people are uploading this kind of content. So this is a bit of a pattern interrupt, and this is how she's managed to grow a substantial following on LinkedIn. Now, apart from that, Lara is also extremely talented at storytelling, or I like to call it authentic storytelling. If we look at some of her personal LinkedIn posts, the types of posts that attract the masses, she creates a lot of content where she talks about her wins, her failures, the behind the scenes. For instance, she's attended her first red carpet night. Not a lot of people post about these kind of things, right? Now, another post right here, age 18, couldn't speak in public. Age 25, built my first six-figure business, felt late, right? So literally talking about imposter syndrome. Here she's talking about her battling depression. This is the authenticity that a lot of content creators, especially on LinkedIn, are lacking. And Lara Acosta is the perfect example of someone making great use of what I like to call the friend effect. People trust you faster when you feel like someone they text, not someone that pitch to. So she uses the friend effect to reduce the distance between her and her audience. And this is especially important on a platform like LinkedIn, which is still dominated by polished, professional, and sometimes quite impersonal posts. Now, with that in mind, Lara Acosta has managed to build a very solid offer ecosystem thanks to her branding positioning as well as the top of funnels content strategy that she has. So how does her offer ecosystem work? Lara is a smart person and she knows that you should never ever put all of your eggs in one basket. So every single piece of content that she creates feeds either into her offer or into her newsletter. She knows how valuable it is to own your audience and to have direct access to your audience through emails. So like I said, every single YouTube video that she creates, every single LinkedIn post feeds into her offer ecosystem. This includes lead magnets and micro offers that she puts out there. So a great example of a lead magnet that she has is the LinkedIn playbook, which is literally a Notion document that she put together with a lot of value. So the point of these lead magnets and micro offers is to give people a quick win, build trust. So she does that in form of playbooks, AI prompts, challenges, and mini courses. She also has a 7-day training. This is a 7-day kind of mini course that she sends out via email. Once again, as you can see, there's an email opt-in. Another thing that she created are different plug and play ChatGPT prompts that you can get. Once again, email, opt-in. So these are all the different lead magnets that she puts out there. And on top of that, she also promotes her newsletter directly. Once again, via her YouTube content, via her LinkedIn posts, via comments on her own LinkedIn posts, as well as her profile call to action. So people can subscribe to her newsletter directly. And this brings us to her newsletter. So she sends out an email pretty much every single day, a couple of emails a week that she's sending out to nurture her audience. So now that Lara has captured attention and in a way identified those top potential buyers by getting them into her email list, now comes actually the fun part, right? This is how she launched Literally Academy. I want to talk about the pre-launch strategy as well as her launch strategy, which is actually quite straightforward, but it's just so genius. So first things first, she launched her course, I think on the 17th of September. So there are two sides to it. We have the pre-launch, the waitlist content. So we have the content that she's posted on LinkedIn and YouTube, as well as her 10-part email sequence, which I want to break down right now. So let's start off with her pre-launch waitlist content. So at the end of August, she made an announcement, a simple video where she announces her upcoming Literally Academy program. She announces the date, and then from then on, every single day, every single time she made a post on LinkedIn, she's made sure to include a link to her waitlist. This includes a teaser video, a personal post where she once again pitches her waitlist, a growth post where she talks about growing her personal brand, once again plugging the waitlist. She's done that over 14 times leading up to the launch of the event. And one thing that is really smart that she did was actually putting up a module directly on LinkedIn. So this is actually one of the 44 plus modules that she's uploaded that people could just watch on her LinkedIn. She's basically creating content as usual, and on top of that, adding a bunch of teasers. And this is a great way to hype your audience up. Now, on top of that, she's also gathered a bunch of email subscribers. So this is how she got them into her Literally Academy program. So on August 29th, 2024, she sent out the first email where she teased her program launch. So at the end of the email that she sent out, she literally just embedded a little image of her filming the content for the upcoming course. Then on September 9th, 2024, she sent out another email saying, "My secret is out," as the subject line. And this is directly where she teased her waitlist once again. Now, this was followed up by a mini series where she talks about the biggest mistakes that people make when it comes to making money from LinkedIn, as well as growing to 10,000 followers. And every single email that she then sends out, she teases her waitlist to join Literally Academy, which is her flagship program. So every single email that she sends out, as well as the content that she creates on LinkedIn, feeds into her waitlist landing page, which is a very simple landing page with a simple email opt-in. The title says, "Like my content, you'll love this. Big things are coming." With that being said, how did she launch her offer? Well, she's made this LinkedIn post right here with the hook, "I can't believe I'm doing this. Over the last 12 months, I've been building Lara from Literally Academy behind the scenes. Today, you get to see it." And there are a couple of things that she talks about, including the different modules. So what do you learn inside the program? And then she also talks about the different bonuses. Well, it's not just a course, it's a program with different resources, as well as weekly live group calls and community access to other people that are literally doing the same thing that you're doing. And then towards the end, she talks about the pricing. She could have priced it at $3,000, so this is typical price anchoring, but you get it for $249 only. And then she links to the landing page directly. Same goes with her offer launch email. "My first ever course is live. Take me to Literally Academy." This is the first call to action in the email. And then she's got kind of like a story where she talks about her own journey, how she grew her personal brand, and then once again adds another call to action to access the program and access the course, which then leads us to her Literally Academy landing page. Now, I know that this video is extremely long. I wanted to also go over her sales copy and kind of extract the biggest psychological triggers, biggest psychological frameworks that she's using to sell her offer. And I think I'm going to do this in part 2. So you just finished watching the first part of Lara Acosta's $1.5 million info product ecosystem. And in the upcoming video, I want to do a little offer breakdown and go over her offer as well as her sales copy, so you can extract the different psychological triggers, the different copywriting frameworks, and use that in your own creator coaching business. So stay tuned for part 2. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye bye. Cheers.